Okay, guys, welcome back to what is, I think it is episode 2 of our attempt of making our slab stacker game. Today, we are going to attempt to move, when we've moved the slab and we stopped it, we want to go and resize it to the correct size. So if you have a little bit of a hangover, we're going to go and get rid of that hangover, resize the slab into the new size, and then eventually, probably in the next episode, we want to go and make that hangover part actually fall down to look like it's just been chopped off. So that is what we're going to be doing today. It should be a fairly short episode because we're going to split these next few episodes into smaller ones, because this is the part where we got it wrong in the first attempt and we can fix it, or at least I can fix it. So we're going to split it into smaller little pieces and try to get them fixed and working properly, and not like the first attempt. So let us go and jump into our code here and see if we can get this working. So here we are. Here's our game. Let's see what we did in the previous episode. I think we only worked on stopping the cube. So if we go and press on the screen, yeah, there we go. So I don't know if you can zoom in on this. I'll zoom in on here. We might also need to can never figure out how to move around the scene in a Unity game. There we go. Nope, this is not working. What I'm going to do, I am going to click on moving slab. Okay, so this is where we are. So let's just fix this quick. So our starting cube is 0, 0, 0, and I think it's on the x-axis also needs to be 0. We need to go out of our game mode quick, and then I'm going to move our moving slab, wherever that is, onto here. This should be the z-axis here, this should be the x-axis, yeah, so this needs to be 0, so that it is positioned exactly on top of our first cube. So that's like that. Looks good. So let's just go put it back to where it was, and then we can change the x back to 0. Okay, so that's fine. So what we want to do now is we play the game quickly, stop it over here. So this is where we want to go, and this is where we want to go. If we stop the cube like this, we want to go and cut this cube over here. And then eventually what we want to do is we want this bit of the cube to just fall down and disappear out of the scene. When it gets to a certain point, we'll go and destroy it out of the game. And then we want the rest of the cube to now become the next size of the next slab that spawns into the game. Because, like I said, the aim of this game is to try and make the highest stack of slab you can. And obviously the more that falls off of the current cube or slab, the smaller the next cube will be. So, what are we doing today? I already said it, but I've already completely forgot. So, in today's episode, we will go back to our slab, which is here. So let's just put it back to where it was. And then let's just move this back here somewhere, like that. Cool. So today we are going to go and, when the slab is on top of the cube and you've stopped it, today we're going to go and make or resize that cube into not the cube, the slab. Keep getting confused. We're going to go and resize the slab so that it is the correct size. So let's jump into our code here. So what we want to do is, this is the wrong project. Let's close this and open up our scene scripts. So I am just going to open up both of these. We might have to create some new scripts, mainly for resizing. I think we might have to do it. We might do it in the the current script that we've got, which is the moving slab. So in here, what we will do is, first of all, on our enable method here, we need to go and check if we are using the current first initial massive cube like this one, or if we are using the next one as we progress through the game. So if we are using the very first one, which we need to add our moving slab script onto it. So we'll add that onto it, and then what we need to do is we need to change this speed to public, because if we go and play the game now without changing it, you'll see that both of our cubes our cube and our slab both move, which is not what we want, because they'll never reach each other because they're currently moving at the same speed. So on our starting cube here, this is the main cube, we don't want that to move, so we'll set that equal to 0 like that. Now if we play the game, we should see that, yeah, that doesn't move, and if we press on the game, it still works. So we still get our cube that stops, which is working nicely. And then now we need to go and start working on the resizing, so let's go do that. So first things first, let's look at our plan, because I haven't made this game in a while, so let's follow our same. Actually, is that a good idea? Because the last time we followed this plan it went wrong, but anyway, we'll see if it works. So what we're going to do first is we need to figure out the hangover. So let's play this game quick and I'll demonstrate. So if we stop over there, so now what we need to do is we need to figure out the size of this hangover here. So to do that, what we're going to do is we need to create another float. I'm going to copy, actually let's do this in we'll create another method. Actually, we'll do it in our stop method, because when we stop the cube we want to do it straight away. So we can do it in here, and then after we've stopped the cube we can go ahead and call another method that will go and slice the cube or resize it with the hangover value. So in our stop method we can create another float. This is going to be called our hangover value, and that is going to be equal to the current size. What is going to be transform dot position dot z. We're only going to be working on the z axis now, because that is the only axis that values are changing for now. Eventually we'll move on to the x-axis, because we're going to have slabs coming in from the z-axis and the x-axis, so it should be similar, just the axes will change. But for now, this is going to be the hangover value is going to be the current size of the cube minus the previous z value. So in this case it's going to be the what's called the main cube. So it's going to be this z value, so over here it's going to minus this from this one, from our current moving slab, and that should give us the hangover bit that is hanging over. So the transform position dot z minus we also need a way of referencing that last slab. So we've got a moving slab. Let's go copy that and paste that, and we will make this our previous, what did we call it in the last time? Yeah, previous cube. Actually, we'll call it previous slab, because it's only going to be a cube once. So previous slab, and then we can use that over here. So this will be what it's going to be. It's going to be our previous slab dot transform dot position dot z. So that should give us our hangover value. And then what we have to do here is we have to go and call another method. We could probably do it in this stop method, but it's nice to keep methods small. So we will make another method, and this one will be called slice slab. What am I doing? We don't need that there. What we do need to do is we need to pass in our hangover value here. So we'll do that, and then we will go ahead and generate that method, so we can get rid of all of that. And then in here, this is where we are going to go and figure out how to slice this cube and resize it, or not slices. Whenever I say slice it, I mean go and resize it so it looks like it's been sliced. So in here, we need to create a new value, and this is going to be the value for let's see, create, check in previous cube, if no, resize the current cube. Okay, so we need to create a new Z value, and this is going to be a float, and we'll call it new Z size. I don't know, you can call it whatever you want. And then this is going to be equal to the last cube, which is going to be the previous slab dot transform dot we're working with scale here, so let's see, have a look and see scale. So local scale dot Z, because we're working on the Z axis, minus the hangover. So it's going to be this entire cube minus the hangover, which will give us the new size. So minus math f dot absolute, like that. So this will what's it going to do? This is going to just make sure that we always minus a positive number, because sometimes when we stop the actually I don't think it should give us a negative number, but just in case we'll do that so that it always minuses a positive number. Otherwise, if it minuses a negative number, it's just going to be adding things, and it's not really what we want. So the next thing we need to do, what's next on the list? Get size of falling block. Okay, so here we need to create another float, and this is going to be the new, well, it's not really going to be new, let's just call it our falling block size, like that. And this is going to be equal to the transform dot local scale dot Z, and that's going to be minus the new Z size. Okay, so we'll save that, and then let's just go into our game. Did we save that? Yeah, we did. So let's go into our game here and see if it works. So we'll unpause it and press play and see what happens. I don't think anything is going to happen. Null reference. Okay, so let's go and see what's happening here. Null reference exception, object reference not set to an instance of an object, moving slab dot stop at line 23. Line 23. Okay, so we haven't really set this moving slab, so that's what we're going to do here on enable. So over here we need to go and say what are we going to say? Moving slab, no. Do we want to do it in here? Yeah, we probably should check and see. Actually, let me just check something quick. Let me go to, I think my old video is still on the channel. Let's see, where is it? I haven't done this. I should probably have prepared for this episode to, let's see, if first slab is equal to null, first slab is equal to this. Okay, so let's go and set that. But in this case, it's going to be previous slab. Hold on, let's double check. Moving slab, yeah. Okay, so in here we have to go and say if the previous slab is equal to null, so forgot to put brackets, so if previous slab is equal to null, then we want to go and say previous slab is equal to this, like that. And that should, where's our game? So if we start the game and this cube is going to go through that code and it's going to check if the previous, if the previous slab is equal to null, and in this case it will equal to null because there is no previous slab, it's going to set this cube to be equal to the previous slab. And then when it gets to this cube, it's going to check the same thing again, and it's going to set this cube to be the previous slab, and then so on. So where is our, do we save that? We saved that, so let's go and play the game, and let's just check and see if we get this error again. Okay, so we don't get any errors, but obviously it's not resizing, so let's go and see what's happening. We might have forgotten some things. So actually we haven't actually, we've calculated the values, but we haven't actually set the new size. So let us go and do that now. So in here, the next thing we need to do is we need to actually go and get the position of it, because just resizing it is not going to put it in the correct position. So, oh, my light's just gone off. Give me 2 seconds so I can. Okay, we're back. We've got some light. Now you can see me. Not that you probably want to, but I'm here. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go and what's next on the list? Let's go and see. We need to get the new position of the current. We need to get the new position of the slab that we're currently on, so that we can go and position it in the correct position. I feel like I made that very overcomplicated. But anyway, let's go and do that. So this is also going to be a new float, and this we will say float. We will call this new. I'm trying to make this very similar to the previous episodes, even though that one failed, but we'll try. New Z position, and that is going to be equal to, this is going to be equal to the previous slab dot transform dot what's going to be, it's going to be the Z position dot Z plus the hangover value, or rather half of the hangover value. So we'll divide that by 2. And that should give us the new Z position where we want to place our new slab. So now we need to go and set the size of the slab with the values that we've just created. So here we can go and say transform dot local scale, I think it is, local scale, and that is going to be equal to the to a new vector 3, I believe it is. This is going to be, so for the x-axis we don't want to change it now, because like I said, or like we're doing this, current slabs that we are instantiating into the scene that are moving from one side to the other, they are only moving on the z-axis. So, and they are also only changing on the z-axis, so they're not changing the x-axis size or the y-axis, because the y-axis is the actual height of the slab. So we want to keep the x and the y the same. So here we can just go and say transform dot local scale dot x, and the same for the y, transform dot local scale dot y, and then the z-axis is the one that we want to change. So here this is going to be our new size, new z size, the one we created, which is over here. So we can round that off with a colon, and then the next thing we want to do is we want to actually, let's go and save this, and then let's go and test this out and just see what happens. But the next thing, assuming that this is correct, we should go and check, or position it in the right place. So there we have it. It is actually working, but let's see. So if I save it, we'll stop it over there. Okay, that didn't work because I may have clicked on it too many times. So let's go and okay, so we are going to cut it in half like that. Okay, so it does work. The only problem with it now, it's not positioned in the right place. So it's supposed to position it over there somewhere. So let's go and do that. So the only thing we need to do is we need to write one more line of code right underneath here, and this is going to set the position. So let's go and say transform.position is going to be equal to a new another vector 3, and then like before, the transform.position.x will stay the same because that's going to stay the same width. The transform.position.y is going to stay the same because we don't want to change the height of it, and then the new z position is going to be the new z position, the one we just created. So we'll save that, and then let's go back into our game and see if it works. So now you should see that the new cube, or the current slab, stops and gets resized in the correct place. So we can stop it there, and that's pretty much what we wanted. So let us go and try it on the other side and see if it works. So we'll stop it over there, and yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we wanted. Obviously this is every time you click it's gonna halve, or I don't know what it's doing, but we'll figure that out later. But for now, that is pretty much it for today's episode. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, we're going to cut this down into smaller bits so that we can try and not run into the same bug that we ran into in the previous episode. But the previous attempt of these episodes. So that's it for today. That's all we're going to work on. And tomorrow's episode, I think, or maybe not tomorrow, but the next episode, we will, what are we going to do? We're going to actually make that piece that we no, we haven't done that yet. We're going to spawn in a new piece so that it looks like the slab is not just resizing but is actually being sliced. And then what we're going to do with that new piece is we're going to just add a rigid body onto it so that it just completely falls down, so it looks like there's gravity in the scene, and it falls down out of the scene, and eventually after about 2 or 3 seconds we'll just delete it out of the game. But that is pretty much it for today. So again, thank you so much for watching if you made this far, and I will see you in the next episode where we will go again, attempt number 2 of these series. But like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.